Right. I'm going to show everybody a new app that's built here called the Flashcards app. I made this app for my son, and the idea here is that I wanted to track his progress with the ability to read. So this is like flashcards that you would present to any normal kid when you're practicing vocabulary. The idea is that you would flash, a word like this across or bells and ask them to pronounce it. And I wanted to build a quick app to track the progress of that because, managing paper or managing books was really hard. And, it's much easier now to put this on a computer and just have him read the words off the screen. So the idea here of the app is that you upload a CSV file full of a list of words, and once you upload the CSV file, your words will come into a database here, and as you start to test, you can track your progress with the number of times you got something correct or incorrect. And over time you can collect data over what words the child is having the hardest time with, and that will give you an idea of where to focus. And you can renew this list as many times as you want. So what I normally do is, over time, looking at this data, I'll take the hardest words and then I'll reintegrate those hard words into a smaller data set to focus just on those. So over time, as you add more words and you start to discover what words are having a hard time, you can then take those words and focus on those and improve over time. So the idea here is making sure that you're collecting data, historical data on where the weak points are, and improving that. So this app is free. I posted it on GitHub for everyone to be able to download it. It is available off of an app called Docker, and I'll walk you through the installation of that right now. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do a few main steps. The first step is to install Docker. I would recommend Docker Desktop. That's the easiest for anybody to learn how to do. Think of Docker like an app store that works on all operating systems. So it allows you to download apps and run it, doesn't regardless of what operating system you're running on. So it's a pretty nice app there, but it's not as easy. It's not consumer friendly like an app store is. But if you're somewhat savvy with the computer, you can figure out how to download any free apps off of the Docker App Store. I'm going to show you how to download the app. We're going to create a folder where we save all of our data, right? This is where all the words are going to be posted, so that way you have your historical data saved. And then I'll show you how to test the app. So first, as far as installing Docker, this is what Docker Desktop looks like here. So Docker Desktop is a tool here that allows you to go to what's called Docker Hub, which is the app store. And then from here, you can go and find the app. So, search online, find out where you can get this installed, and, follow the instructions on how to do that. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but, all my apps are under my username, Justin Melmar Clay. So if you just go to the Docker Hub tab here, which in Windows it might look a little bit different, but you search, you'll see a couple of different apps that I have uploaded here. Sorry about the names are long, so it's hard to read the complete names, but you can see the app here called Flashcard, and then there's a description here. If you click on that, it'll allow you to pull the latest version of the app here. So if you look somewhere on the screen, you'll see something here that says latest. You'll see pull. I'm going to go ahead and pull that. So what it's doing is it's downloading the app, right? So we're on step 2 now, where we're downloading the actual app once you've installed Docker Desktop. Now that it's pulled, if we go up to the images, you'll see here's my flashcard app. It's downloaded. Don't mind all the garbage and stuff under there. But you'll see here the flashcard app is downloaded, and you can see the latest. So this is the latest image that I've downloaded of my app here. So I'm going to go ahead and press play. When you press play, you're going to see some settings here, and this is where you're going to configure the save folder, right? So this is an important part of the whole thing, right? So you've got to, one, configure a port, right? This is where you're going to access the app through the browser. So you got to pick a port here. So default here is going to just be 5010, so just pick that. But if you have used Docker before or not, You can almost pick any port you want. There's a few reserve ports that computers don't allow you to use, but if you're in the 5000s, usually that's fine. I'm not going to go into port configuration around here, but just pick 5010. If that doesn't work, 5011, 12, and you can go up to tens of thousands of different types of port numbers. But the next thing is this host path. So the host path is where you're going to be saving all of your data. So pick a folder, can be anywhere on your desktop, inside of a documents folder, whatever you want it to be, and then put that folder here, put the folder path here, and then in the container path, we're going to be putting /app/data. And this is where the Docker container uses internal configurations of where it's saving stuff. So you don't really need to worry about what's behind this, but that's what you have to put there in the container path. So what's important is you put your host path. This is where your data is going to be saved. So for example, I created a folder here on my desktop and I call it flashcards app. Right. So if you want to, I'm just going to delete this because I did this already here. Let me move this to trash. So I'm going to take this flashcards app. I'm going to take the path name here and put it in here. Right. So you can see here I've got desktop, Docker flashcards app. And that's just a folder, a directory that I created. So, feel free to put whatever path you might want. And that's where all of your data is going to be saved. And this is important because if the app crashes or turns off and you turn it back on, you want to be able to go back to where you were and not lose all of your data, right? So once you get this configured, go ahead and click run. You'll see the command line interface come up and say, everything's ready and running. If you see here a link that, says, 127.0.0.1 and port 510, that's where you're going to go to access the app. If you look inside the folder, you'll see a new database is created here. That's a fresh database, and I'm going to take you to where the app is running. So this is a fresh install. What I previously showed you was another installation that I had running. But from here, what you're going to do is you're going to upload a CSV file. So a CSV file is pretty simple. There's a few ways you can do it. You can look online and figure it out. But a CSV file is pretty simple. It's just a text file with a list of words. So it'll look something like this. Maybe without even commas on them. So you can create CSV files multiple different ways. I created this with an Excel sheet. You can just put the words in an Excel sheet and then press export to CSV. Once you've got that CSV file, we can even delete all these here. You don't need those. But the CSV file should look somewhat in this format. If you have those commas in place, don't worry about it. It'll still read it. So here's the CSV file. It's just a text file. There's multiple ways to make that. You're going to take this and you're going to upload it here. Press upload CSV. And then you're going to see the actual words come up here, right? And then what you're going to do is press start new test. If you want to test every word in the database, let's say you have 500 words, you could just press 0, start test, and it's going to pick all the words that are available. You're going to go through and as the child reads, press correct or incorrect, and it makes words. And then over time, what it's going to do is track the ones that were incorrect. So in this case, we got store. You can start a new test. You can make the test as small as you want. Let's just say it's 2, and then have them read, and store is incorrect again. And over time, what you should expect is that you're going to build up a database that looks like this. That's it. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be able to support you if you want to add features in there or just have any you get stuck technically. It can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes to install Docker and get it running because there's multiple ways to do the same thing. You can do it through command line interfaces. So if you need some help, let me know. I'd be happy to assist here.